All right, so we got a spicy My Hero theory we're going to be talking about today. And I got the Lunchtime crew with me, first time on the channel. What's up, man?
Yeah, it's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
And I've got long time collabor on the channel. Haven't been here in a while, actually. Turtle Quirk.
Yeah, it's been too long. Too long.
Turtle Quirk's back, and we're talking about the three major villains of My Hero right now. Aside from All For One, he's going to be out of the picture and not be redeemed, so he's not really applicable to what we're going to be talking about. But we're talking about Dabi, Toga, and Shigaraki, and what their future is. So currently in the manga, nothing has really definitively resolved with them. I mean, in the latest chapter, we saw that Dabi may or may not be dead. I personally don't think he is, because that would be kind of anticlimactic. At least we just have to see his straight up death in the next chapter for it to confirm. It can't just end there. But it's very likely that he passed out, because, I don't know, I just feel like he still has some resolution, at least to just talk to his family. As for Toga, she still has a lot to go. Probably going to get to see her go against Uraraka next. And then Shigaraki, of course, going against Deku as we speak. So let's just get down to like the core of it. It's very possible that these three characters will have forced redemptions. And by that, I mean like they might all be reverted back to being children. Now, what originally made me think this was in the latest intro for the My Hero anime, which I'm pretty sure season 6, right? There's like this instance where Shigaraki like dissolves, and then Tenko is the remainder. Like it's like there was like this Shigaraki shell around Tenko. Do you know what I'm talking about, Lunchtime?
Yeah, I get it. It's kind of like when in the intro, it's the referring to when Tenko is inside of Shigi in like visually in the manga as well. You see like the hands coming out of him.
Yeah, so like there's like that fragment of Tenko's personality that's still dormant.
Still in there, yeah.
And even just seeing that, because it's constantly brought up. It's one of the most recurring things that we see with Shigaraki, actually. And it makes you think like, wait, is this how it gets resolved? Like, is Shigaraki either going to be rewound, or through some crazy quirkery be reverted back to Tenko? Because Shigaraki and Tenko have a common thing with Dabi and Toga. There's like the common theme between them is that they were all innocent children. They were all just fine. I mean, Toga's backstory more ambiguous, but she's more of a victim of having her quirk. Like her quirk compels her to behave the way that she does. It's not like she wants to be like that. So it makes me think that like they're all were, you know, innocent children, and they all grew up the same way, all became these despicable villains via things outside of their control. Like Dabi with the neglect from Endeavor, Toga with her quirk, and then Shigaraki, of course, with All For One targeting him because he is Nana's grandson. So is this ultimately going to be resolved with all of them possibly being reverted back to their child forms? I mean, there's multiple ways that, you know, this could go about, and we'll get into that. But what do you just overall think about that resolution to these characters, Lunchtime?
It's an interesting one because ERI is definitely like a Chekhov's gun the way she's been set up. She's like a power that is completely like almost overpowered in the universe the way it works, and she has to be used in the future. Now they kind of teased a bit of her power with like All For One, and you know All For One himself will eventually revert back to his child self again. But in terms of Toga and Dabi, it's interesting because I agree with you in the terms of they have to be redeemed somehow, a forced redemption. And currently with Dabi, it's just doesn't seem possible at all, really, unless something does happen. Like even his body-wise, he's just skin and bones at the moment. Like, not even skin, just bones at the moment. Toga seems most redeemable, weirdly enough, and it's Shigaraki. It is that child self, like that child is calling out and stuff. And you always see, even in the flashback of when Doria wants to save Shigi, it's young Tenko he sees. So having them revert back would make sense for Shigaraki and maybe Dabi. Toga, on the other hand, it's a bit hard to see in that regard. like as much as she seemed the most redeemable at the start, now it's kind of like it seems less of to do with her. It's more to do with her current self rather than her past, as in she's come to terms with society and kind of with herself, where the others, something crazy happened in their past that just completely messed them up. Hers was kind of like a gradual one. So I can see it for the Dabi and Shiggy, but with Toga it's a bit up in the air, I'd say.
Yeah, I feel like with Shigaraki, it's almost guaranteed just because of the fact that Horikoshi's kind of gone out of his way to make it seem like Shigaraki and Tenko are two separate people. Because, you know,
Yeah,
I say up until relatively recently, we all kind of, you know, Shigaraki was just a character who had changed throughout his life. But now it's like, no, Shigaraki and Tenko, two different people, get that in your heads. And then when it does eventually happen, we'll be like, oh, Tenko's back. But yeah, that is clearly being set up. But for Dabi, I feel like, I agree with what you said Lunchtime, like Toga would be way too forced, I feel like. She's just like,
Yeah.
she is who she is. And I don't know if the series is going to end with her in jail or maybe like in some kind of rehab so they can like kind of give her a redemption that way and she just kind of integrates back into society. But with Dabi though, I feel like that would be a bit less forced. I feel like if he did that, it wouldn't be the end of the world for me. I feel like Dabi, especially like I'm pretty sure in one of the recent chapters, wasn't there like a vision of like, there was like a what if panel of like if Dabi wasn't neglected as a child, wasn't there, right?
Well, he still looked like
Yeah.
Dabi, interestingly enough. Maybe Horikoshi just wanted to draw him so, I don't know, the people knew what he was, but it more so was like if Dabi was still friendly with his family. And because I say he still looked like Dabi, he still had like the scars from what I remember, right? He wasn't just full blown like...
I think he was like...
I don't think he had the scars, no.
No, he didn't?
No, I think he was like a grown up version
he
of
was
Toya.
just-
He didn't have his like arms or stuff. I think he was still damaged, like as if he fought. But his face, I think, was back to like the white hair and the normal looking.
Oh, okay. Well, then, yeah, that's even more so heading in that direction. But...
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because like they kind of... Because even before this, like... I think that's the second time this arc where Horikoshi has shown a potential future or like an alternate reality. I think the first time was when he showed like the adult versions of like Shoto and Deku from the back. And then now he's showing, you know, potentially Dabi. I feel like, is he just like dropping the breadcrumbs? Like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. Like it's coming. Here's a little preview for you guys.
Kind of has that, doesn't it? The little like hints throughout. It's like, ooh, something's happened here. Especially like as you said, Tenko is definitely like the way like even he has to save Tenko, not Shiggy. Just for that, it's like a definite. The other ones are kind of like there's hints of it there.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you brought up ERI, because I guess that would be the way that this happens. Because we know that she can rewind people. I mean, it's implied that she like rewound her father to I can't even say it in this video, but you know what I'm getting at. But so I'm also looking at the panel right here. Yeah, it is just normal Toya, but his right arm is missing. But we've seen that Eri's power, or at least a derivative of it that Yujiko made, can rewind you just like it rewound All For One to a younger state. And that could be more foreshadowing too, like the way that it makes him so young. You know, maybe she does it to other people, and it, you know, reverts any kind of, I guess, damage they took as well, because she straight up brought back Mirio's quirk factor. So it also, you know, goes back to what you were saying with her being a Chekhov's gun, and she absolutely is. There's some major significant thing that she still has to do, and it could be so many things. Like, it could be Deku, I don't know, getting All For One eventually, which I think that he will, and then maybe getting Eri's quirk, and I don't know, he does some crazy thing like that. That's one big theory that I had, but other than that, it's just Eri somehow winds up on the battlefield, because why not? I know she shouldn't be there, but this is battle manga, and I don't know, she just does something, some huge EMP-like thing, or she just, out of the kindness of her heart, just rewinds the villains once everything's said and done, like once they're all defeated. And also them being rewound, I think, would be a good way to end the series. Now, also, I don't want Dabi to be redeemed. Let me just put that out there. I say it all the time, but it's not in my control, obviously. But hypothetically, just for the sake of this theory, he does get redeemed. Him being a child Toya again, Toga being a child, and Shigaraki being Tenko. Also, we're just assuming that their memories are erased at this point, or restarted. They would be like the next generation of heroes. They can even join the class of like the kindergarten the kindergartners, the one that calls Shoto 5 PP Man. Like, they could just be integrated into that class. And now they're put on the right track to become heroes. And I was talking about this with Turtle earlier, but like, Tenko, if in theory he would still have Decay at that point, he can easily use Decay for good. Like, it doesn't just have to be a villainous quirk. Like, you know, for example, if somebody's like trapped under rubble or something, just decay the rubble and they're instantly saved.
Oh yeah. No, I definitely agree. Especially now that he has like control over it. Before, when he, you know, when at the start of the series, when whatever he touched just disintegrated, but now that like you can see specifically, even like the previous war and stuff, when he didn't destroy the Nomus when he used it, like he has a distinct, he can choose what is and isn't. So in terms of like utility for hero wise, he could definitely use that quirk for good. There's a load you could do with it. And something interesting mentioned previously as well about ERI helping the villains out of the kindness of her own heart. Didn't they kind of like tease that a small bit with Overhaul when they kind of like said, like, you know, Deku kind of said, I might show you to ERI. That could be like the introduction to that idea.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't I hope he doesn't get rewound. He should just stay limbless.
Yeah, it's a weird thing in the series moment. It's kind of like all about, you know, it's a hero thing, so it's all about saving people and, you know, like making sure the word saved. But I agree with you in terms of like Dabi is someone I don't think should be redeemed at all. In terms of like he like unalived lots of people for a better term, unalived a lot of people. Like even like in the series you see it, and like the whole like destruction of the war and stuff like that, and you see like even in Uraraka's story how like the effect of what the villains did and like how they like hurt so many people. Redemption for the characters has to be like nominal for it to feel like a redemption. And one thing as well with like Dabi not being redeemed was at the end of the last chapter, even when he was defeated, he was still like, I hate you all, like I don't want like to be here with you, we should all not be here, you know. He's very like, he hasn't like changed, his personality hasn't done a switch, it hasn't done anything. So for him it'd have to be like a mental digression or something if he was to be reversed. But even at that, we've never seen
the memory being erased. I think that could be it.
Yeah,
like
it would have to be like, otherwise like there's like you can't change that character part of him at the moment the way he is. It would have to be a memory erasure type thing going on.
And wouldn't it be so weird if like Dabi, imagine this, like Dabi's rewound, his memories are erased, so that means technically Shoto is now his older brother. Wouldn't that be like so weird? That would just, because he wouldn't remember anything.
Yeah, everyone else would remember, so it'd be like this weird, like, it's like, oh, it's older brother Shoto, which, saying that, actually kind of, for some reason I kind of like that idea of being like older brother Shoto.
Yeah. And then also, because like, I mean, now it's been revealed that like Toya has the ice as well, so like they are kind of the same, so like Shoto could teach him how to use the ice and the fire at the same time. Well, that could be quite interesting.
That could be interesting, and it could be going the whole thing of how, you know, Toya always wanted to be like the chosen one, the masterpiece. And now that they know he has an ice quirk, if they rewound him and got rid of his memories and he grew up again, he could be the masterpiece Endeavor was looking for. You know, he would fulfill his like so-called destiny almost of being the perfect hero.
And also
like a second chance, which
something has to come of that ice quirk too, right? It would be so pointless if it was just revealed and then it's like, oh, I'm dead now, and then it's like, oh, all right, you know, like oh, he had an ice quirk, that was interesting, I guess we'll never expand upon that. So that could be, I don't know, a possible way it goes. But other than that, if ERI, just a side tangent to end the video, if ERI doesn't do this, what do you, just, you know, rough opinion, theory, speculation, what do you think her Chekhov's gun would be, like her ultimate end thing that she very likely is going to do?
So my biggest fear for her Chekhov's gun thing is she's going to revert all the heroes back to normal forms. So kind of like, well, Endeavor gets his arm back, just this person's healed, this person. That's kind of my biggest fear of her Chekhov's gun. That is a potential, because, you know, like, she has to be used and it would get rid of all the consequences for all the, like, you know, the dramatic moments. It kind of take away from them. In terms of her actual use, other than reverting them to children, it's a tough one to say, because her quirk is so like unique in that regard, and that like, no, it just reverts people. Now it could be a case where the way she reverted, the way her no, her thing was used to make the bullets to revert people's quirks. She could be used in that regard. So instead of reverting them to children, she can erase quirks from people just naturally. So it could be a thing where she's used as kind of like a deterrent for villains, as in like it takes away their abilities, takes away all this, and kind of gets rid of the threat of them.
Yeah, that would be a cool way, like, you know, just all of the people in the world, because that was also explored earlier, like the heteromorphs, like they don't want to be that way.
Yeah.
And there could be like this new, I don't know, quote unquote vaccine. I don't even know if I could say that. Yeah, probably. I don't know. Enough time has passed on YouTube. But there'd be like this vaccine for like, you can get rid of your quirk if you want. And it was made through or synthesized through Eri's quirk. That would be cool. That's like another video in itself. Maybe I'll make a short out of that. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this one, guys. I want to thank Lunchtime Crew for coming by. Awesome discussion we had today. Please check out his channel. Subscribe, guys. He's an up-and-coming creator in the My Hero community. I don't feel like there's too many nowadays. So, and you also do the spoilers, right?
Yeah, I do the spoilers and stuff, and there's always a spoiler warning. Just put it there.
Not for me. I'll spoil anyone. But yeah, check him out, and check out Turtle Quirk. Turtle Quirk is not doing My Hero, but he is doing Attack on Titan and Chainsaw Man, and then maybe some other stuff in the future.
Yeah, look out for that. Some other stuff is coming very soon, next couple of weeks, hopefully.
And don't subscribe to my channel. All right, guys. Thanks. Bye.